First day of the Cosmos is already almost in the books, and how do you like it so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Apparently, based on what they've told me, there's 900 more signed up people here than last year's, which is pretty cool. Cosmos 2023, Cosmoverse 2023 was in Turkey. I attended that, and it was a great event. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one turns out. I've already listened to a couple of the talks, so it's been good. I mean, one of the things I find with these conferences, Cosmos in particular, is there's a much higher composition of or ratio of builders to like BD people versus other events that I've went to, like Token 2049 and others like that. So I think that's always one of the things I look forward to the most, is just chatting with actual builders in the space.
What makes Cosmos unique from your perspective?
I think like one of the things that makes Cosmos unique, I think one of the most obvious things is just this app chain thesis idea. So this idea that Cosmos back in the day, and maybe still is, the easiest and best place to launch a new chain or launch a new network. And a lot of we're seeing, like, even with the recent announcement of like Uniswap moving to have their own network, we're seeing like applications want to have their own chains. I think at the same time though, a lot of those chains, app chains might not make sense. But I think Cosmos, has been and continues to be sort of a breeding ground for a lot of those app chains to get built and launched. And we're even still with, a lot of the, negative sentiment that Cosmos or Atom has seen over the last, few months. We've still seen new chains launch or new networks signify that they're going to be using the Cosmos tech stack, which is cool to see.
What is the most exciting feature for you in Cosmos tech stack?
I mean, I would say like the Cosmos SDK is that or IBC is probably what I would say is the most useful. IBC is already connecting, like, I think it's like over 100 different networks now, and new networks are being added all the time. I mean, there's like a pretty solid number of people that are working on the tech stack on a variety of fronts, but IBC in particular is super useful, specifically in the context of like Neutron. We use IBC to do a lot of different cross-chain interactions between different applications. So like Drop, for instance, with liquid staking, and other applications as well. So I think it's a really good sort of shared, secure interoperability standard across the different Cosmos networks. So.
All right, and what's your favorite application?
My favorite application, I would say either Mars protocol, which is a really powerful credit protocol that's built on Neutron. I like to keep things simple personally when I'm using DeFi, and one of the things I really like about Mars is just the ability to deposit USDC and get USDC denominated yield. And right now, like pretty consistently throughout the year, it's been above like 7%. So it's been, above, T-bills if you're from the US, and it's been above, your average like savings account interest rate of like 0.5%. So yeah, I really like that. If I had to name another one, I might say like Drop Protocol, which is this new liquid staking protocol backed by Lido that launched on Neutron a few months ago. So I really like how Drop is simplifying this liquid staking experience and integrating these D assets deeply into a lot of these different DeFi applications. So there's a lot of like interesting things you can do with your liquid staking assets. I think that's one of the reasons why liquid staking hasn't really picked up in Cosmos. Like we've seen like liquid staking's been around in Cosmos for years, but a lot of people don't know that, like, for instance, with the Cosmos Hub, 99% of staked Atom is natively staked. It's not liquid staked, which means there's like all this latent potential that can be unlocked and used productively within DeFi to kind of boost these decentralized economies, or like grow or strengthen the economic viability rather of these decentralized economies. So I find that really encouraging as like someone who got into the industry because I wanted to see these crypto economic systems sort of galvanize large swaths of people to solve collective action problems at scale. And I think crypto's really lived up to that over the past several years. But I like to see applications and teams that are creating systems that solve important problems like that, where you're sort of activating this nascent, like, billions of dollars of capital that could be used productively, and then activating that and then using that to actually grow this decentralized economy that we're building.
Do you have any ideas for those apps in particular?
The ones that are using D assets? Yeah, so there's, I mean, in terms of like the applications, what they could build, or like D asset use cases?
Both.
So yeah, I think on the application side of things, there's been I've talked about this publicly, a few different apps that I would like to see built on Neutron. Personally, I'm really bullish on a decentralized crypto index that gives you access to the price appreciation as well as the yield of like the top 50 crypto assets by market cap. This doesn't exist in crypto today. Like, the best that you can get, I think there's like one company that has a crypto index product, but like we know, if you look at the historical returns, index products outperform actively managed portfolios, like 80% of actively managed portfolios in the traditional financial market. Crypto is not going to be any different, especially with like all the fees that go into like trading these assets. So I think that's one product I'm interested in, and then I think that would be a great use case for D assets as well, because the yield component could come from liquid staked assets. So for instance, like if you were to have like a DCI, a decentralized crypto index product that has like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all the top 50 assets, for all of the ones that have a staking yield associated with them, you could have that be a D asset, a drop liquid staking asset, right? Or you could integrate existing ones if you wanted to, but that could be a great way to attach utility to liquid staking assets, and at the same time do it in a way where it's going to, over time, as people want to hold just the DCI product itself, it's driving demand for drops liquid staking assets in the background, right? You're buying these D assets in the background when you buy this index product, right? So I think that's a use case that I personally would use. Because I'm not like a person who is under the delusion that like I'm going to outcompete the people that have much better information, much better tooling, and are doing this full time. But yet that's like most of crypto people today. They think like I'm going to outperform all of those guys. They just like don't think it through. They're like, I'm going to outperform those guys. I don't care. I think like if an index product was available like that gave you access to, you didn't have to worry about like trading off the yield or the price appreciation. You could get both through this product, and also not have to worry about like managing your assets. I think it'd be a pretty compelling product for at least a percentage of a lot of people's crypto portfolios.
Do you remember what was the first Cosmos Hub proposal about?
I'm not sure what the first Cosmos Hub proposal was. Yeah, I mean, we've seen a ton of proposals go through Cosmos Hub over the years. There's just a lot of controversy whenever there's any discussion around how we're going to like improve ATOM tokenomics or the Cosmos Hub in general. So yeah, I think I mean, I don't know what the first proposal was, but I know that there needs to be some sort of, I don't know if I would call it an overhaul, but there needs to be an improvement in just governance in general in the Cosmos ecosystem.
Which application you've enjoyed the most while using?
In Cosmos? Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Mars, using that. I'm trying to think if there's another one that I've used that I enjoy. I mean, I've used Osmosis obviously as well for swaps and things like that. I really like what Skip has built with Skip Go, just aggregating the different swap platforms, swap venues into one platform where you can just go in there and swap any asset across all these different networks and get good rates. I use that pretty often as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think those are Mars, Drop, Skip Go, and Osmosis are the ones I would say are the ones I've used recently. Back in the day, obviously with Terra, when I was working at TFL, I used all the Terra applications that were big around that time as well.
And all of those you would suggest to try out?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely try out Mars and Drop on Neutron. If you're looking to do perpetuals trading as well, Mars is going to be launching a new perpetuals product soon. So you're going to be able to trade perps on there using your Mars credit account. So one of the nice things about the Mars credit account is it allows you to have much more capital efficiency with your assets. So you can actually use LP tokens as collateral assets to then borrow against. It was surprising to me when I first started using it. The liquidation thresholds are basically how few, how little money you actually had to put in to get a certain amount of leverage on the platform because of the way their credit account as like a DeFi primitive works. So yeah, I would try out Mars, and then if you hold Atom, I would also try out Drop, because you can use DAtom and participate in the Droplets program, which is going on right now. So the Droplets program is a 100 million drop token airdrop. So that's 10% of the total drop supply, which is going to be airdropped at the token generation event. And you can earn those by basically using DAtom across DeFi. So while you're earning additional yield using DAtom in these different applications, you're also earning basically essentially drop tokens for a future drop airdrop. So that's something to check out as well.
All right. About the earnings, did you get any airdrops across the Cosmos ecosystem?
Yeah, so over the past several months, I got the Saga airdrop, as well as the Dimension airdrop for, I think it was Staking Atom or something. Staking Atom or Staking Osmo or something like that. So yeah, I got those airdrops. I think those are like some of the nicest airdrops that people in Cosmos have gotten for a bit. I wasn't staking like that much Atom, and I got like a few $1,000s worth, in like Saga and Dimension. So.
Speaking of rewards, claim or compound?
I think it depends on the asset, right? I think, if you're bullish on the asset, I think, compounding it makes a lot of sense. There's different approaches, right? Like, so some people, they're staking and they're bullish on the asset, but they use the staking yield to offset their entry price. So they sell the tokens to basically lower their entry price because, that's effectively what you're doing. So I think, it could make sense in either way. It just depends on the asset and what your sort of investment strategy is.
And if you're not bullish?
If you're not bullish, then I don't know why you're staking the token in the first place.
Absolutely. Cosmos or EVM?
Cosmos, obviously.
Absolutely. So let's make Interchain great again?
We have to. That's kind of why we're here, right? Cosmoverse is, everyone's coming together for pretty much that exact reason. So, I'm personally bullish on Cosmos' future. You see a lot of the industry innovations start here. Like restaking, for instance, liquid staking, proof of stake. All of these things have been taken up and sort of monetized in other ecosystems. I think Cosmos has a knack for like innovating on the tech side of things, but product is greater than tech. I think the best tech doesn't always win out, but the best product usually does. And so I think that's one of the things we've been focusing on at Neutron is reorienting ourselves around how can we build the best DeFi products versus how can we build the best DeFi tech. And like, for instance, Avalanche is a great tech stack. They've had great tech over the past like several years, but it just hasn't really taken, it just hasn't seen a ton of adoption for like the quality of tech that it is. And I think that's because on the product side of things, and maybe even a little bit on the marketing side of things, there's been some areas for improvement. So that's kind of what we're focused on is just building great products. And there's a lot that goes into that.
So people should follow you definitely and start building great products. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for chatting.